How do I give my property to someone else, and should I even do it? This is the topic we're discussing today, and by the end of the video, we'll also talk about the trap of property gifting that you absolutely need to take note of. Let's go. Christmas is upon us, and 'tis the season of giving. So some of you ballers out there might be thinking, how do I gift my property as a present? Well, under certain situations, you can. But there are definitely costs that comes with it, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But now, let's first talk about HDB. For HDB owners, now, unfortunately, since 2016, people who want to transfer their HDB to family members will not be able to do so anymore, except for under very special circumstances, including things like a divorce, a marriage of one of the owners, citizenship status changing, financial hardship, so on and so forth. So in other words, you will need a very solid reason for HDB to allow it, but in most cases, it's very difficult to get approval even if you do feel like your reason is very rock solid. So we won't be talking about HDB for now, and we're talking about more for private property. So for private property, there are generally two ways to do this transfer. First way is by way of a gift during the donor's lifetime, so it means when the owner is still alive. This is called inter vivos gift. And the second way is by way of a gift after the donor has passed on, right? In terms of doing up a will, right? But we will not be talking about the second way. Today we'll be talking more about the first way of doing this gift of property, and we'll be discussing the risk and also issues that comes with this way of gift as well. Now, transfer of property by way of gift during a donor's lifetime. It is perfectly legal to give the property to someone else without any monetary compensation, right? You can do it by effecting a deed of gift between the transferor and transferee, right? But there are still a few things that you have to note before you actually effect this deed of gift, right? Few things you have to check. Number one, is the property still under a mortgage loan, or have you used any CPF on the property at all? Most of the time when you're looking at a gift of property, it should be free of any encumbrances in the form of a loan or CPF use, right? If you do have these things currently in your property, chances are you can't gift your property to someone else, right? So the best way to do it is actually to first clear the mortgage loan and also pay off the CPF plus accrued interest that you have used on the property. Now, to do this, you have to pay in cash. Once that is done, then it will be a lot easier for you to do this transfer by way of gift. Now, there are a few rare instances whereby people were able to gift with all these encumbrances still on the property, but it's extremely rare, and you have to actually check with CPF board and the bank to see how you can do it without paying off the loan or paying off the CPF. But more likely than not, they will not accede to your request. So like I said, best way, pay off the loan, pay off the CPF before you start doing this deed of gift. Now, if you really want to make a request up to the CPF board or to the bank, we advise that you get a conveyancing lawyer, right, to consult the options you have in this scenario. Next thing you have to know is that stamp duty will still have to be paid on the property's market value. Now, if you were to transfer your property to a transferee, right, the transferee will still have to pay the standard buyer stamp duty on the market value at the point of time of the property, right? Similarly, if you have bought the property for less than 3 years and you are transferring it to someone else, you also have to pay the standard seller stamp duty based on the market value of the property as well. So Singapore's tax authorities will definitely conduct audit checks on the transfer documents of this gift of property. If anyone has been found to deliberately undervalue the property just so they can save some cost for this transfer, will definitely be seen as committing a serious offense. So we do advise that you get a proper valuation of the property before you effect this deed of gift, so that you know that you're paying the right amount of stamp duties. So if your property is free of encumbrances, like don't have mortgage loan or any CPF charge, this is the general procedure for gifting your property. Now, the first step is to enter a deed of gift with the person that you're actually giving the property to. Next is to pay the stamp duties associated with this deed of gift in accordance to the market value of your current property. Third is to prepare the transfer instrument and file it at the Singapore Land Authority with the relevant title documents. And fourth is to lodge a notice of transfer with the Comptroller of Property Tax and MCST Board. Now finally, we are here to talk about the pitfalls of gifting of a property, which is very important if you want to be prepared for such scenarios happening in the future. So if the gifter of the property is adjudged bankrupt within 3 years of the date of gift, the gift and transaction may actually be voidable at the option of the bankrupt's official assignee. So the official assignee may actually apply to the court for the relevant orders, and if the orders do go through, right, the gift will actually be set aside as part of the estate of the bankrupt, which means that the grantee may lose their rights to the property as a whole. Now, the next thing we have to note is on the mortgage of the property. Now, in view of what I said earlier on about the transaction may be voidable, is the reason why the banks will unlikely be able to give a loan to the property. Now, what are the implications of this? This implication will be for your subsequent sale. So the implication is this: if you are the receiver of the gift of the property and you subsequently want to sell it in the open market, it will be a very, very tough sell. Why? For two main reasons. Number one, the potential buyer may not be able to get the mortgage loan that they need for the property. And number two, right, they run the risk of losing the property. Right? If the original grantor of the gift goes bankrupt and the official assignee actually receives order that they have to take back the property to form part of the estate of the bankrupt, right, the buyer of the property will potentially just lose the property just like that. And this is a very big risk for any buyer to take. So this is a very, very brief summary of gifting of properties. If you want more information and more details, please go and look for a conveyancing law firm. They will be able to better advise you. So if you haven't noticed, the setup is very Christmassy. So Merry Christmas to you and your family, and all I want for Christmas is you to subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thank you very much. Hey.